touching the recently issued death certificate of his business partner, we see local entrepreneur Ebenezer Scrooge. He's staggering across the dark, miserable graveyard, muttering obscenities as he stumbles over the uneven ground.
Ow! Bugger! Damn! Bah!
St. Bridget's Kirk is notorious for its protruding graves, a hazard to be walking around in the dim light of duskiness. However, Marley is dead. Make no mistake, Jacob Marley is dead. Despite his cold exterior, Ebenezer Scrooge is a traditional man and wants to pay his respects, or to at least...
Flowers? I specifically ordered no flowers.
Read the card on the wreath, Scrooge.
I hope that undertaker doesn't expect me to pay for these.
Read the card on the wreath, Scrooge.
Bloody waste of money. They'll be dead in a few days.
Read the card, Scrooge.
Oh, hang on. There's a card.
Thank the Lord.
R.I.P. Uncle Jacob, always in our thoughts. Love, Harry, Sally and Fred. Frivolous fools. He wasn't even your uncle, merely my business partner. I am your uncle. Unbelievable. They don't have 2 pennies to rub together, but they go and spend a fortune on flowers for a dead man. Ah.
So, herewith we see the character of the man who will be the subject of our tale.
Well, Jacob, my old friend, there'll be no more Marley and me. But don't worry, assuming a dead man can worry. Can a dead man worry? I've decided that despite me now being the sole owner of Marley and Scrooge Limited, to retain the company name, so your memory lives on.
Don't be sucked in, dear listener. This has nothing to do with the memory of Jacob Marley, nor any respect from Scrooge himself. It is simply a decision made following numerous inquiries upon the costs involved in remaining the firm, both legally and on the replacement of all the firm's stationery. Obviously an unnecessary expense.
Good night and goodbye, Jacob Marley.
Ebenezer makes his way back to his office, still trying his best to avoid the trip hazards in the graveyard.
Ah, damn! Oh, bah! Bloody drenched.
With his head hung low, not in sorrow or in mourning as you may expect, but this was his usual stance, one he'd developed to avoid unwanted conversations. Not that anyone would ever wish to engage with him. Scrooge was not particularly renowned for his social skills or idle chit-chat.
Ah, this damned weather.
It's cold and it's raining heavily, but Scrooge doesn't feel the need to buy a new coat or umbrella. Again, just another unnecessary expense. Fast forward to Christmas Eve 2020. It's 7 years since Marley's funeral. And here is Bob Cratchit, Scrooge's clerk, working without raising his eyes. In the corner, an electric fire with a single bar lit. He dare not turn on a second, despite the freezing cold, for fear of instant dismissal. He's only recently returned to work following the furlough scheme, and is now living on a reduced salary, which has seen a demise in his ability to provide for his family.
Mr. Scrooge, sir?
Bob wears a mask at all times, due to his young son having caught COVID.
I'm busy. I can barely hear you through that stupid mask. If it's not a matter of life and death, keep it to yourself.
Actually, it is a matter of life and death. Bob's son, as well as having the COVID virus, also suffers with a much worse condition. He has a brain tumor. So, dear listener, please forgive Bob's mask muffling his voice. Ebenezer Scrooge sits, as always, at his desk, a calculator glued to his hand, his laptop the only glow in the room, the dim luminance provided by the screens of his internet banking and online investment apps, and perhaps Bet365 when nobody's looking.
I only want permission to switch on the second electric bar. It's really freezing. I didn't without asking.
Ah, that's the doorbell. And here's young Fred, Scrooge's nephew.
Merry Christmas, Bob.
Oh, yes. Merry Christmas, sir. There's hand sanitizer over there.
Oh, that's okay, Bob. I have my own here. So, how is Tiny Tim keeping? Is he looking forward to the festivities and Santa's visit?
Well, he's not too well, I'm afraid, sir. Catching this virus on top of the brain tumour really hasn't helped one bit.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Please send him my best wishes. All the family will be praying for him.
That's very kind of you. If only we could afford to take him to America for the operation, he might have a better chance. And now with the hospitals already full, and we've just been told to keep him at home, and
Oh, is my uncle in?
Yes, he's in. Where else would I be on a business day, eh? And please stop distracting my clerk from his duties that I pay him to carry out. He's only just back from his government-sponsored holiday, or furlough as they called it.
A very Merry Christmas to you, Uncle.
There, humbug.
Humbug. Come now, Uncle. Surely you don't mean that. It's Christmas Eve.
I most certainly do mean it, and I shall say it again. Humbug.
Oh, Uncle, you're not wearing a mask.
As if a mere virus would dare attack old Scrooge.
What do I need a mask for, eh? Even President Trump says they are pointless, and he should know. And what's good enough for him is good enough for me.
But, Uncle, all the doctors and experts say wearing a mask is important if we are ever to get rid of the COVID virus.
Bah, doctors and experts. What are they now? Bunch of quacks, a lot of them. Anyway, what's so wonderful about Christmas? You and your parents are as poor as church mice.
Indeed, but why are you so gloomy? You have more money than the rest of the Dalgety Bay put together.
Gloomy? I'll tell you why I'm gloomy. Christmas is why I'm gloomy. A time when people spend unnecessarily and run up bills that they can ill afford, which leaves me chasing them to recover their debts for the rest of the year. And then it all starts again. Ah, humbug.
Come now, Uncle.
If I had my way, every fool who goes round shouting Merry Christmas should be boiled with his own pudding and buried with a sprig of holly stuffed down his throat and mistletoe stuffed up his ass.
Uncle!
Nephew, just keep Christmas your way and I'll keep it my way.
But you don't keep it, do you?
Well, leave me alone then.
Well, you can think what you like, Uncle Ebenezer, but Christmas is a wonderful time for everyone. When people are kind and do good things for others, like comic relief and children in need, I feel the world is such a better place for it.
Don't get me started on that glorified begging.
You wouldn't believe, but Scrooge actually makes a fortune at Christmas, selling anything and everything that people need to celebrate, as well as lending them money to pay for it all. At huge interest rates, of course.
Well said, sir.
One more sound from you, Cratchit, and the next thing to hit your desk will be a P45. There'll be no furlough this time.
Don't be so angry, Uncle Ebenezer. Please. Mother told me to ask you to come to dinner with us tomorrow. All of us together on Christmas Day? How wonderful would that
Night will not.
be?
Why do you all insist on such jovial gatherings? Eating, drinking, merriment? It's against the rules. Miss Sturgeon has told us we cannot mix households indoors. I have a good mind to report your mother for, never mind.
It's because we love one another, Uncle, that's why.
Love? Love? What profit was there ever in love? When did love ever bring anything but debt? Now goodbye, nephew, and bother me no more. Go on, get yourself home with your Merry Christmases.
Very well, Uncle. But again, I wish you both a Merry Christmas all the same, and a Happy New Year.
Bah! Humbug!
Goodbye, Mr. Cratchit. A Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year to you and your family. I sincerely hope Tiny Tim is better soon.
Oh, thank you, sir. And a Merry Christmas to you.
I told you to get on with your work, Cratchit.
Trying his best to remain merry, Bob puts his head down and gets on with his chores, trying to not let himself worry about being on a minimum wage and struggling to make ends meet. Every week, not just at Christmas.
What has he got to be so merry about anyway? Sitting there with a wife and 3 brats to take care of.
Bob can ill afford to be out of work, even on minimum wage, especially in the current climate where he's unlikely to find any alternative employment.
Mad. They're all raving mad. Bah.
Oh no, it's the COVID collectors charity, and they've sent this pretty young woman to see our Mr. Scrooge. They couldn't have come at a worse time. They've already been around all the businesses in the Bay collecting donations for the local food bank intended for those impacted by the virus. Bob is keeping his head down as Scrooge storms out of his office. This will not end well.
Ah, wonderful. I see you have a large pot of money with you. Whose debt have you come to repay?
No, sir, you misunderstand. We are collecting for the food bank to help those who have been so badly put out of work by this pandemic so that they may still enjoy Christmas.
Oh dear, get ready for it.
Speaking to Mr. Marley or Mr. Scrooge?
You'd get a hell of a scare if you were speaking to Marley, young woman. He's been in his grave these past 7 years. I am Mr. Ebenezer Scrooge. Now, what do you want of me?
As he's speaking, the girl takes a squirt of sanitizer from the bottle on Bob's desk.
Oh, and that'll be 10p for the hand sanitizer, if you please.
The poor girl looks shocked, but places the money into Scrooge's outstretched, bony hand.
Sir, as I said, I am collecting for the local Corona charity to help those disadvantaged by the virus, and I wondered how much I can put you down for.
Clearly, she is still unaware of Scrooge's reputation.
Nothing.
Oh, you mean you wish to remain anonymous?
No, I mean put me down for nothing. Nada, zilch, not a penny, bugger all. Has the council run out of money? They collect enough from me in taxes, yet you come in here, cap in hand.
I did say this wouldn't go well.
But sir, Mr. Marley...
Bah!
I mean, Mr. Scrooge, many of your neighbours in the Bay can't even afford masks to protect themselves from the virus. Without help from the wealthy people of the Bay, like you, then people may die, if not from COVID, then from starvation.
Good. That would mean less people begging for my money. Now, if you have no more to say, get out of here before I have you arrested for begging.
Mr. Scrooge, sir, may I...
Cratchit, I have already warned you.
Scrooge returns to his office, still outraged, muttering under his breath.
How dare they coming to me for my money, mumbling, coming, I'm begging.
As the young lady leaves, Bob hands her a £1 coin and half a packet of biscuits that he'd been saving as a treat for his children before bed. It is, after all, Christmas Eve.
Right, clear off. Go on, take that racket away from my door. Christmas. And you can shove your chestnuts where the sun don't.
Mr. Scrooge, sir.
What is it, Bob? This had better be good, especially if you want the whole of tomorrow off, even though it is a midweek working day. Come on, man, spit it out.
Well, yes, sir. It is Christmas Day tomorrow, a bank holiday, so I was hoping that...
Bank holiday? Ha! It's no bank holiday for me, though, is it? The Bank of Ebenezer Scrooge is still expected to give you a day's pay for doing precisely nothing. Well, you had better get in early the following day and make up for lost time. You'll have me bankrupt one day. Now, what is it you're nagging me for?
Well, it is Christmas Eve, and I was hoping that... I wondered if you might let me... I was hoping I'd ask you to...
If you will just stop prattling on, then yes, you can go early. Come on, hurry up and start locking up. And turn that blasted fire off. I've told you before to ensure it's switched off half an hour before we finish. Else you are heating an empty room at my expense.
Yes, sir. Thank you. Sorry, sir. But I also was also hoping to ask you.
What more do you want? Blood? Come on, hurry up before I change my mind and have you working late again. Make sure that door's properly locked and get off with you. I've still got work to do and I don't wish to be bothered with those beggars. Oh, and make sure you're early the day after tomorrow.
Bob walks home dejectedly, stopping only to look in the window of a toy shop. He looks in his wallet, shakes his head, and continues on his way.
Compliments of the season, Mr. Cratchit.
Oh, hello, and a Merry Christmas to you.
Happy Christmas, Bob!
Thank you, and the same to you and yours.
Bob makes it just in time as the butcher's is closing, and he buys the only bird that he can afford with his last few coins.
Excuse me, sir. Do you have anything I could have for £2.75? It's all I have.
Oh, let me see. I've got this chicken left over. You can have that if it's any use.
He hands Bob a scrawny chicken, but it would have to suffice, and it would still be a far superior meal than the Cratchits have become used to of late. Even though the bird looked like it had itself contracted the virus and had probably been used as a guinea pig for a vaccine.
Oh, thank you, kind sir. I'm sure Mrs. Cratchit will be able to make a wonderful meal of this. A very Merry Christmas to you.
A Merry Christmas to you too.
Continuing his journey home, Bob makes one last stop at the food bank, where he manages to pick up a few potatoes, carrots, and a tin of beans. He makes a mental promise to himself that next year there would be stuffing and gravy and cranberry sauce. His mouth waters at the thought. Happier now, and smiling at the thought of the following day's Christmas festivities, he wanders home.
Hello, Daddy. You're late tonight.
On the floor are two young children who run to give Bob a cuddle. Laying on the old sofa is Tiny Tim, covered with a blanket. Bob sits on the sofa and feels Tiny Tim's forehead.
At last, Bob, darling. I really thought you would have been allowed to leave early with this being Christmas Eve and all. Here, let me get that wet jacket off you. So, how was your day?
If you mean, did I ask Mr. Scrooge? Then the answer's no. I'm sorry, I just couldn't.
Oh, Bob, you promised. Tim's gradually getting worse. If we can't get into America for the treatment, then I don't know.
Tiny Tim has a brain tumour which can only be removed by a doctor in America. The Cratchits can't afford to take him, and to make things worse, he has now caught the coronavirus.
I know, my love, but Mr. Scrooge was in such a foul mood all day. I mean, even more foul than usual. I did try, but to be honest, I fear he would have fired me on the spot.
But Bob, he really is getting worse, and now this virus, we're running out of time. You must ask Mr. Scrooge for a loan, or at least a pay advance, before it's too late.
Did you speak to the hospital today?
I rang, and it's the same situation. They just don't have any spare beds. They said to keep him warm and to give him plenty of fluids. Oh, Bob, I really think we may lose him if we don't do something soon, very soon. Maybe even to this horrible virus, if not the tumour.
Oh, come on, love. That last doctor said he thought Tim stands a chance of surviving this virus. I will, I promise. Speak to Mr. Scrooge first thing on Boxing Day. I'm sure once he understands the urgency, he will help us with the operation.
He has you working on Boxing Day?
I'm afraid so, but at least I have a job to go to, more than many can say at the moment. I know we should be in quarantine because of Tim, but we just can't afford it. Can't afford for me not to work. And I must ensure I get in early too.
What?
But I did bring home this lovely chicken.
Oh, Bob, that's Scrooge. I hate him, the miserly old devil. Don't hold your breath. I bet he refuses to lend us a penny.
We see people all wearing masks, rushing about doing last-minute shopping, laughing and wishing each other a Merry Christmas. Scrooge keeps his head down, ignoring them all as he makes his way home. But unusually for him, he enters Hugo's bar.
A small burger to take away, no extra toppings, and a half pint of your cheapest bitter while I wait.
Would you like a sample of some of Hugo's special mulled wine, sir?
No, miss. Had I wanted to sample your special mulled wine, I would have ordered some. Don't you realise how hard times are at the moment? I neither want nor need your overpriced festive rubbish.
But sir, it's...
The poor waitress has no time to explain. The mulled wine is complimentary. Before Scrooge finishes his drink, collects his takeaway burger, and begins his lonely walk home. Scrooge arrives home and takes out his key. As he puts it in the lock, the huge knocker seems to change to a vision of the face of his old business partner, Jacob Marley. He shakes his head, turns the door key and goes in. Feeling shaken after his vision, he carefully locks and bolts the door and eats his poor supper of his single burger by the dim light of a tiny side lamp. Nevertheless, he considers it an extravagance to have had a takeaway in comparison to his usual bowl of broth.
Well, time to settle down. I have a busy day tomorrow holding the fort alone while I pay for that lazy, useless...
He pours himself a thimbleful of whiskey and slumps in his chair. Before long, his eyes close and he begins to slumber. Until...
What? What? What's that? Who's there? Who is it?
Scrooge looks around to see a man standing in the middle of the room. Around his waist, wrapped many times, is a large chain, attached to which is a heavy safe and an old-fashioned cash register.
Who the hell are you? How did you get in here?
Don't you know me, Ebenezer? It's me, your old pal and partner, Jacob.
Jacob? Jacob Marley? Is it really you? It can't be. How? Why? I mean, you're dead. I stood and watched you being buried myself.
Yes, Ebenezer, it's me. Long dead, but not able to move on. Not while I have unfinished business.
Scrooge peers hard at the apparition.
Well, you certainly look like Jacob. I recognise that old coat and that scarf. No, I don't believe it. You must be a figment of my imagination, or a bad dream brought on by that half a bitter.
I assure you, Ebenezer, this is no dream.
The apparition moves forward towards the now cowering Scrooge, and he pinches him hard on the hand.
Out! What are you doing that for? The real Jacob would never do that. We were friends.
Well, if this were a dream, you'd be awake now, wouldn't you? Yes, we are friends, which is why I'm here. As you will soon see, I can assure you, Ebenezer.
Then prove it. Tell me something only the two of us could ever know.
Okay, but you won't want to hear what I have to say. When your beloved Jenny was ill, you could have paid for her treatment and a private hospital, but instead you chose to invest your money in shares in that new Microsoft company.
Well, in my defence, those shares are worth a fortune now, and those doctors, all quacks. All right, so it is you, Jacob. But what do you want? Why are you here? Why now? And what is it with the chains and those things you're dragging behind you?
The train I forged, link by link, day after day throughout our business life together. The safe, the register, all signify the reasons. Ebenezer, your chain is still being forged, and it's now 7 years longer than my own. That is why I'm here, to warn you.
I mean, if your fate is to be my fate, how can I avoid it? Tell me, Ghost, what must I do? Tell me, Jacob.
You will be visited each night by 3 spirits.
And I bet they're not going to be whiskey, vodka, and gin.
Starting tonight at 1 a.m. and followed the next 2 nights at the same time. To avoid being as I am, I must take heed of them 2 years.
With that, the apparition turned and walked slowly away, stopping only to say over his shoulder,
Watch and listen to your visitors. It is the only way you can save yourself.
The ghostly figure then disappears through the wall as though it wasn't there. Scrooge jumps out of his chair and runs to the wall where Marley has vanished. He runs his hands over the wall, feeling it as solid as it always was.
Damn you, Jacob Marley. Come back. I need to know more.
He stopped short. Even Scrooge himself didn't know why, but his usual expletive lacked its usual resonance. Startled and bewildered, he slumped back into his chair, drained the last dregs of his whiskey, and then went up the stairs to bed. The meeting with Marley's ghost seems to have upset Scrooge more than he would want to admit. Since retiring to his bed, he's been laying awake watching and listening to the clock.
Quarter past 12 and still awake. Bah, damn that Marley. He knows full well I have much work to do in the morning.
Still awake, Scrooge listens to the clock strike the half hour and shortly after the 3/4. The minutes tick away, ever nearing his dreaded...
Ha! Soon be the hour that Marley promised me another ghostly visitor. It must have been a dream. Well, I knew that was nonsense. Listen, that's the clock striking the hour. Time for me to get some shut-eye.
Not so fast, Scrooge. That is the clock striking the quarters before the hour. Just wait. And there it is, the single chime for 1 a.m. At that very moment, the room is suddenly bathed in an eerie green light.
Who put that light on? Who's there? Who is it?
Now, why are you so surprised, Mr. Scrooge? Did not Marley prepare you for your nightly visitors?
Who's there, I say? Who is it?
A tall figure stands at the foot of the bed. But look closely. He is dressed in light, tight jeans, a white t-shirt, and a leather jacket. Had it not been for the ghoulish green aura, Scrooge would have thought himself to have been in a scene from Grease the musical.
Good evening, Ebenezer. Or should I say good morning? I believe you've been expecting me.
Are you the visitor that Jacob Marley told me to expect? Or are you just some petty thief come to steal my money?
Hush. I am no thief, Mr. Scrooge. You may call me the ghost of Christmas past.
The ghost of past? What past? Who's past?
Why, your past, of course. All your past.
What do you want from me, ghost? If you truly are a spirit, my money is of no use to you.
I have no need of money. That time is long gone for me. No. I am here at the request of your old friend, Jacob Marley. I am here to save your soul.
Soul? No, there's a surprise. Who would have ever believed that Scrooge even had a soul?
You want my soul? What are you? The devil incarnate? I can tell you now, you will not have my soul. Get out. Leave me be. Go on, bugger off. Lock the door on your way out. Ghost of Christmas past. I'm dreaming, I must be. Humbug.
No, Ebenezer, I'm going nowhere just now. I don't want your soul. I want to save your soul. Save it from the fate you're so surely heading for. The same fate that befell your partner, Jacob Marley. Come with me now.
The ghost takes Scrooge's hand. He's too frightened and confused to resist, and together they disappear through the wall as if it was not there, just as Jacob Marley had done earlier on. Scrooge is taken to a memory of his past. The year is 1963. The venue, the Carlton Theatre in Kirkcaldy, and the Beatles are performing.
Twist and shout, baby, come on, baby.
Do you remember that night, Ebenezer? The Beatles were your favourite group.
Of course I remember. That was the night I first met my Jenny.
It certainly was. And Jenny was such a pretty girl, wasn't she? Come closer. Let us reminisce.
Scrooge watches in amazement as he sees his younger, much younger self enjoying life, singing and dancing with so much joy. He's even more amazed when he hears himself.
Merry Christmas, everyone. Merry Christmas. Have a great time, and I look forward to seeing you all on Hogmanay. The drinks will be on me.
Do you remember how that used to make you feel, Ebenezer? Don't answer yet. We have plenty more to see.
Scrooge and the ghosts of the Christmas past watch on as the concert ends. He sees himself walking Jenny home, hand in hand, and they really did make a lovely couple.
Come on, Scrooge. That's enough of this for now.
But, no. Take me back.
There is no time. We have much more to see before this night is over.
The ghost has taken them back even further in time to show an even younger version of himself, a schoolboy Scrooge in detention.
Oh, I remember that day well.
Tell me about it.
Jacob had thrown a cricket ball at me. It missed and smashed the heads off his window. He looked out, saw me, and thought I'd caused it. So I was the one who took the blame. I was caned and made to write essays while the rest of the school spent the day in the hall at the Christmas party.
Why didn't you just explain to the head it was Jacob Marley who had thrown the ball?
Oh, I don't know. I was young and stupid back then. I thought it the honourable thing to do. Damn fool I was.
Come on now, there's still more I want you to see.
Scrooge and the spirit appear in a hospital room in a maternity ward. There are Christmas decorations up, and in the background we can hear carols being sung along the corridors. In a solitary bed lies a young woman. Scrooge is looking down at his beloved Jenny. She's in labour with their first child, but she's not having an easy time of it.
Oh, Jenny.
That's right. Something went wrong, Ebenezer, didn't it?
We'd not been married very long when she fell pregnant with our daughter, Wendy. But there were complications. The doctors wanted me to pay for specialist maternity care at the private hospital in Edinburgh.
So why didn't you? Surely money wouldn't have been a consideration. At least it shouldn't have been. But it was, wasn't it?
Bah, those doctors, they were just trying to squeeze money out of me. What do they know anyway? I said then, and I say now, they were just quacks after my money.
But that wasn't the real reason, was it? You'd plenty of money. You could easily have afforded to take Jenny to the hospital. But you wanted to invest in that new Microsoft company.
I know, but like I told Marley, those shares are worth a fortune now. It was a very wise investment, best I ever made.
And you truly believe that? Still?
Before Scrooge can make any reply, the ghost whisks Ebenezer away to St. Bridget's Churchyard. He's faced with a meagre headstone.
Here lies Jennifer Scrooge, 1947 to 75, beloved wife of Ebenezer and their daughter Wendy, aged 1 day. Sleep well, my darlings.
Why have you brought me here, spirit? I have not had the prowess to visit this, my poor Jenny and Wendy's grave, since I laid them to rest. I've not been back since that day, even when I buried Jacob. I purposely had his grave placed in the farthest corner. Why are you doing this to me? I want to go home. Take me back now, please. Get me back to my bed.
Soon, Ebenezer, soon. But we have just 2 more memories to visit.
No, please, no more. I've seen enough.
Shush, it'll be over soon.
But not soon enough for Scrooge. The night has taken its toll, but now the ghost has brought him to his next destination.
Oh, I know where this is. It's my old office where Jacob and I had our first jobs. Look, there, it's my old boss, Mr. Fitzgerald. I did like him.
Okay, boys, it's 3 o'clock and Christmas Eve. Stop what you're doing. Marley, go and fetch the buffet from the kitchen. Young Scrooge, bring in the drinks from my office. Time to start the festivities. Merry Christmas.
He was a wonderful man, so generous. We had so much fun, though we did still work hard.
Generosity which you abused, Ebenezer. You betrayed Mr. Fitzgerald.
Bah, business, that's all. Just business. Jacob and I saw a chance to form our own company.
Take note of his client.
Like I said, just business. And we're done now. Take me home. I've seen enough.
All in good time, Ebenezer. I've just one more sight for you. A little different from the others.
The final calling place where the ghost of the Christmas past shows him a scene that he doesn't recognize. A well-dressed, middle-aged couple sit in front of a roaring fire, whilst their 3 children play in front of a huge Christmas tree. There's barely enough room for them amongst the many gifts overflowing from beneath it.
Where are we, Spirit? I don't recognise this place. Who are these people?
Look again, Ebenezer. Look closer.
Wait, that beautiful lady, is it? It can't be. That's my Jenny, just a little older. And the man, is that me? How can this be? And who are those children?
Correct. It is you and Jenny with your 3 children, Wendy, Mary, and Isaac. I told you I'm the ghost of Christmas past. What you've seen up to now is the reality of what happened. But here I wanted you to see the Christmas that might have been.
Happy, darling? Are you looking forward to tomorrow?
Of course, my love. You know how I love Christmas. I can't wait to see the children's faces in the morning when they open their presents. And the little something special for you.
Oh, Eb, you shouldn't have. I don't think there's a luckier woman in the whole of Fife. No one celebrates Christmas more enthusiastically than you.
Hello, Scrooge residents.
Mr. Scrooge, this is Dr. Romanov from the COVID Research Laboratory. I am delighted to tell you that the vaccine has passed all the tests with flying colours. It's a complete success. We anticipate that the virus will be eradicated within a matter of months, and it's all down to you financing the research. We, the country, no, the world cannot thank you enough. None of this would have been possible without your generous donation.
Come, Ebenezer. Our time here has come to an end.
But wait, what do you mean this is Christmas that might have been? What stopped this from happening? Spirit, tell me. I demand an answer.
And then there was silence. The ghost was no more to be seen, and Scrooge is back in his bed under his blanket and overcoat, watching his breath rise in the cold night air. And then the clock chimes the final quarter.
A 12:15. A 12:15? But how can that be? Bah.
Once again, Scrooge hears the clock chiming on the half an hour, and again on the 3/4.
Damn you, Marley. 7 years and you still haunt my dreams. Bah, humbug to you, ghost of Christmas past. Soon it'll be the time for my second visitor, if Marley is true to his word. But if I stay awake, then I cannot dream up any more spirits.
Scrooge, is this really a dream? Ask yourself. Do you believe that that's the case? If so, why are you jumping from your bed to lock the bedroom door?
There, That'll stop it.
Not so fast, Ebenezer. Turn around. Scrooge's second visitation has arrived in full Father Christmas garb. Although you wouldn't want to sit your child upon this bony knee, I can assure you. He's enveloped in an eerie green glow, almost looking like the Grim Reaper, but in a Santa costume.
No, I refuse to acknowledge you. This cannot be. I have stayed awake to make sure I wouldn't have any more ridiculous visitors. Never mind one dressed like...
Be warned, mortal. Do not mock me.
Oh, go on then. Let's get on with it. Which Christmas ghost are you meant to be? Oh, before you tell me, I need to ask, are we allowed to be indoors together? Different households and all that. I'm sure that Nicholas said on the telly.
You may address me as the ghost of the Christmas present. I thought you were expecting me. Don't worry, ghosts can't spread germs or viruses.
Christmas present? Oh, does that mean you brought me a gift?
This is no joke, Scrooge. I'm here to show you how others are celebrating the holidays, in the hope that you may see the errors of your ways.
Christmas? Bah, humbug. I have no care how those fools choose to spend their time. And please, Mr. Present, don't call this a holiday. Some of us still have to...
Enough! Now put this mask on. There is little time and we have to leave.
Mask? I will not wear a mask. I do not need a mask. Why should I? Mr. Trump says...
Put the mask on!
But you're not wearing one.
True, but then I'm already dead. Put the mask on.
Reluctantly, Scrooge succumbs. The spirit grabs him by the hand, and as with the previous ghost, they disappear through the wall. Immediately, Scrooge finds himself on Regent's Way, grasped tightly by this ghoulish Santa figure. Many mask-wearing people are gathered, collecting last-minute essentials from Tesco's and mulling around the market stalls which have been set up in the car park. A choir from Dalgety Parish Church sing carols alongside a stall offering hot chestnuts.
Merry Christmas! Compliments of the season. Festive greetings!
Happy Christmas!
The marquees and Hugo's are packed with festive merrymakers, enjoying their early Christmas cocktails, whilst socially distancing and drinking responsibly.
Merry Christmas indeed. Bah, humbug. What have they all to be so merry about? I know many of these fools. Most are in my debt, some to thousands of pounds. But here they are spending my money on luxury food and drink. Money they should be paying back to me. Well, I shall increase their interest rates in the new year. Maybe then they will curb their foolish ways and remember just who is funding this indulgence.
Ebenezer, these people work hard all year. Surely you don't begrudge them one day of happiness and fun once a year?
I most certainly do when it's my money they're spending, neglecting to pay back their debts to me.
At the nearby Louis Brown's, staff are handing out parcels of food and hot drinks to those in need. The size of the queue is alarming. This virus seems to have taken its toll on many residents of the Bay. Redundancies and reduced pay has had a huge impact.
Look, Scrooge, what you see there is the true Christmas spirit. The act of giving with no expectation of receiving anything in return.
Ha! You can't fool me with this nonsense. Obviously, if these folks don't die, then they can continue to work, earning more money which can be spent in this kind of establishment. It's nothing more than a business gimmick to entice them back once they're affluent again.
Mr. Scrooge, I begin to think your soul is beyond salvation.
I knew it! Just like that last ghost. You've only come here to take my soul. Well, you will not have it. I tell you, you will not have it!
The ghost and Scrooge continue their walk.
Slow down, Spirit. Slow down, I say. I'm barefoot and this snow is cold.
Cold, Ebenezer? I thought you said this was but a dream. How then do you feel the cold?
Dream, nightmare. Nevertheless, I am cold. Now, where have you brought us?
The apparition has brought Scrooge to the very place that he'd been invited to by Fred the previous day. The family all sit around the dining table, a large bird as the centerpiece, toasting the festivities with friends and family on a video conference call.
This, Ebenezer, is where you could be spending a very Merry Christmas today. If only you weren't so stubborn, mean, miserly, and nasty to people.
Okay. Enough with the personal attack. But I still say bah humbug to Christmas.
Just listen, Scrooge. Just listen.
Please join me in raising a glass. A very, very Merry Christmas to one and all.
And a special toast in memory of my beloved poor sister Jenny and her baby Wendy, who died on this day 25 years ago.
And let's not forget Uncle Ebenezer, of course.
Never! I will not toast to that horrible man, ever.
I know, but surely now is the time to forgive him.
But why do you hate him so, Father? He makes a fortune every day, yet he seems so sad and lonely. I just don't understand why he is the way he is.
He wasn't always that way. When we were all younger, he was the life and soul, always laughing and joking, always the first to buy a round in the pub. He and Jenny were so happy. Then after she died, he withdrew himself, and I don't think he's ever smiled since that dreadful day.
It was his fault that she died and her baby Wendy. He could easily have paid for the medical care that they so urgently needed and saved them both. But no, he spent the money on some madcap investments instead. Money always has been and always will be Ebenezer's priority.
Oh, I didn't know that, Father. Poor man, he must blame himself every day. That makes so much sense as to why he is the way he is.
This brings a tear to even Scrooge's eyes.
Come now, Ebenezer. Our time here is done. We still have one more place to visit.
The ghost walks on with our pajamaed Mr. Scrooge scurrying to keep up. The pain of what he's just heard overwhelming the pain of walking barefoot through the snow. They arrive at the destitute home of the Cratchits. Dawn is breaking as they head inside, where the family are all gathered. Again, the spirit and Scrooge are invisible to all.
It's Bob Cratchit, my clerk. Is this where he lives? I imagine that woman in the old dress must be his wife.
Correct on both counts, Ebenezer. Here we are at the Cratchit house on Christmas Day.
What are those old toys that the children are playing with on the floor? Didn't they get any new ones?
The Cratchits can barely afford to feed themselves on the pittance that you gave off. There's hardly any money left over, toys.
And that other child on the sofa, which is falling apart, is that the one they call Tiny Tim? I seem to recall Cratchit mentioning something about him being ill.
That's right, Ebenezer. He is very ill. He has a brain tumour, and also he caught the coronavirus. But then if you paid attention to what people say to you, you would know this.
What business is that of mine? Do we not have an NHS?
Bob, please come and see to me. I think he's getting worse. Here, feel his forehead. He's burning up.
I'm okay, Mother. Actually, I might even be feeling a little bit better.
Why can the child not get an operation? There is no charge for treatment on the NHS. It's financed by hard-working folk like myself, for all the taxes I have to pay.
Hush. Just listen for once, Ebenezer.
That doctor in America is the only one who can help, my love. We need to raise £10,000. And that Just Giving site has only raised 300 so far. That won't even give us a single flight.
I still don't understand why the NHS can't pay for him to be sent to the States, if that's the only place he can get the treatment he needs.
Look, I've already said that tomorrow I'll speak to Mr.
Please don't argue. I'll be okay. It's Christmas Day. Let's try to do our best to enjoy ourselves. And we have that beautiful chicken to look forward to for lunch.
I hadn't realised how bad things were for the little chap. Why didn't Cratchit come to me for a loan?
Really? And you would have given it to him?
Yeah, well, probably not. I mean, they have no equity. I would never have seen a penny returned. But I hadn't realised how bad things were.
Had you listened, you might have. However, it's now time for us to leave.
But...
Scrooge once again finds himself back in his bedroom, laying beneath the thin sheet and his coat. But it seems colder now. Once again, we hear the chiming of the clock.
£12.45? Again? This is impossible. Ah, here we go again. What ghostly apparition will this next nightmare bring? Marley, you promised me only 3 spirits. So if there's another to come, it had better be the last. Maybe then I can finally get some sleep.
You talk bravely, Ebenezer, but the tremor in your voice betrays your valour. I can see just how frightened you are. The room again bathes in an eerie green aura, literally on the strike of 1. Of all of the apparitions that have been sent to Scrooge so far, this is by far the most frightening.
No! Leave me alone, spirit. I've had enough for one night. Or however many nights this charade has been going on for. I refuse to acknowledge you.
The ghost is adorned in a hooded black robe. It has skeletal-like features, as does the bony hand which protrudes from its cloak, willing Scrooge to join him.
Come, Ebenezer, Scrooge. Let us begin our visit.
Don't touch me, damn you. I already had the past and the present. But you must be...
I am the ghost of Christmas yet to come.
Well, you could have dressed a little more appropriately. First one looked like Elvis. Second dressed like Santa. And here you are in this Halloween costume.
Jest at your peril, Ebenezer. Continue to do so, and you will regret it. So, shall we start our journey?
Well, when you put it like that...
Just as before, the spirit leads Scrooge through the wall and they materialise again on Regent's Way. The apparition takes Scrooge, still barefoot and in his pyjamas, to observe 2 well-dressed people, both wearing masks. They're standing chatting outside Lee Brown's.
Well, will you be attending the funeral?
Not me. Apparently it's at 9 AM, and to be honest, I'm not really a morning person.
Haha.
But joking aside, I never liked the bloke anyway. I imagine it will be a poor do. I doubt they'll even have a buffet after the burial.
What? Not even those little vol-au-vent things?
Ah, a funeral is not a funeral without vol-au-vents.
You're probably right. It's not as though many folk have a good word to say about him. Does anyone know what will happen to his fortune?
I doubt he even paid to have a will drawn up. It'll likely go to his sister-in-law and his nephew. Unless he's found a way to take it with him, of course.
Haha, that wouldn't surprise me. He did love his money.
Yeah. Is it true he died on Christmas Eve? And he laid on the floor till the clerk found him on Boxing Day?
I believe so. Apparently, it was the virus that got him in the end. His own fault, of course. Fool as he was, he always refused to wear a mask.
Idiot. Still, I can't believe they still haven't found an effective vaccine for it. Such a pity. All those they thought they had only lasted about 3 months.
Why have you brought me here, spirit? Why must I listen to this? Who do they speak of? Wait, I understand. They're speaking of me, aren't they? Am I to die of the virus, ghost? Am I to die lonely and unloved? When will this be?
The ghost of Christmas yet to come makes no reply, and without warning, the pair are whisked away to another visitation.
What have you brought me now, Spirit?
Don't you recognize it?
Oh, wait. This is my house. Who are these people here in my living room? And what is the meaning of that wasteful fire burning away there? I would never have such a blaze. Do they not know the cost of coal? Hang on, that's my cleaner and my laundry lady.
As usual, Ebenezer and the ghost are unseen by the occupants of Scrooge's lounge. The cleaner and laundry lady are accompanied by the cleaner's husband, an ill-to-do sort, unkempt and uncouth. He finishes the final dregs of Scrooge's whiskey bottle before announcing,
Come on, let's start looking. There must be some money lying around here somewhere. Don't you two start feeling guilty. It's not really thieving, is it? We're just reclaiming what he owes you both over the years.
Spirit, stop them, quickly. They're going to rob me.
The undead must not interfere, Ebenezer. However, if our last visit's anything to go by, you won't be needing your material assets, will you?
Bah. Well, be I dead or alive, they'll never find my money.
the three intruders begin rummaging through Scrooge's home. They'll be hard-pressed to find anything, though. The scant furniture that's there looks like it was obtained from a charity shop many years ago. There's not a single ornament to be seen. The only exception is the bookcase, weighing heavily under the pressure of dozens of tomes and volumes on economics and finance.
What on earth did the old bugger do with his money? There's nothing here of value. The only thing here is his old ledger books of debts that's due to him. Well, I know exactly what to do with this.
The man begins tearing the pages from the book, one by one, and throwing them on the fire.
That'll teach you a lesson, Scrooge.
Stop! Stop, Spirit! I command you to stop him. That book is worth thousands of pounds.
It's no good, Ebenezer. I've already explained that I can't interfere. And neither can you.
Stop! Stop, you fool! You thief! I'll have you, you bah!
Ebenezer, they can't hear you. We have to go through this every time.
The cleaner returns from upstairs with an old clock, which has stopped at 1 a.m. Inside the workings, she's found a large key. There was nothing else to speak of, but the three intruders are convinced the key must lead to Scrooge's wealth.
Bah! They've got the key. They'll never find the safe that it opens.
Well, other than the whiskey, it seems that this was a pointless exercise. Who knows what that key opens? I suppose we'll just have to be satisfied with the debts, which have been burned off. Unless, of course, that old painting over there by the fireplace is worth anything.
No, leave that alone. It's just an old painting. Sentimental value, not worth a thing.
He can't hear you, Ebenezer.
The man takes down the old painting. It's a portrait of Jenny, the only memento that Scrooge ever kept. And on the wall behind it...
Oh, well, what do we have here? It's the old man's safe hidden behind an awful painting. Pass me that key. Stop. Here, use that sanitizer on it. The old man did die of the coronavirus, remember?
Don't you dare. Get away from that.
Just as the man turns the key in the lock into his safe, the scene disappears before Scrooge's eyes, and before he knows it, he and the apparition are back at St. Bridget's Kirkyard.
Why bring me here, Spirit? I'm being robbed. Take me back. I have to stop those crooks.
Your attempts will be futile, Ebenezer. When will you learn?
Nevertheless, I have already been tortured by visiting my Jenny and Wendy's grave. I have no wish to see it again. Why do you feel the need to put me through this?
Look closely, Mr. Scrooge. Look closely.
Adjacent to the grave of Jenny and Wendy, a sole gravedigger is shoveling earth onto a lowly coffin. There is no funeral party and no headstone, just a simple wooden cross with a handwritten epitaph.
Ebenezer Scrooge, 25/12/2022. Me? Dead? The year after next? How?
Oh, I don't think I have to tell you. I think you know, Ebenezer. Come, our last visit.
In an instant, the ghost of Christmas yet to come, with Scrooge grasped firmly by the hand, had teleported to the home of Bob Cratchit and his family once again.
I know this place. I've already been brought here by that Father Christmas ghost. I need not see this doleful place again. Take me back to my bed, Spirit. I'm tired and cold.
Not just yet, Ebenezer. You saw the Cratchits in the Christmas present. I brought you to see their Christmas yet to come.
Dear listener, Scrooge has indeed been brought back to the home of his clerk, Bob Cratchit, and his family. But something's different. Though there are a few tatty decorations and a twig of a Christmas tree, there is an aura of sadness. Just two children sit on the floor, listlessly passing a ball to one another. The curtains are drawn, and the silence only broken by the sound of the ball rolling to and fro.
Come on, darling, dry your eyes. Tiny Tim is at peace and not in pain anymore. If anything, it's a blessing that he no longer has to suffer. A better Christmas than we could ever have given him.
I know, Bob, but he was so young and tiny and...
What's happened? Has Cratchit's son? How? What Christmas is this then, Spirit?
It is Boxing Day 2021. Next year.
Boxing Day 2021? That is not a holiday. Why is that lazy clerk at home? He should be at his desk as he's paid to be. Lazy good for nothing.
Ebenezer Scrooge, you never fail to astound us. You really are truly heartless. Dear listener, only yesterday, on Christmas Day of all days, the Cratchits had to say their final farewells to their beloved Tiny Tim.
Scrooge, Tiny Tim has died. The tumour finally beat him.
How? That last ghost said that they could take him to Algeria or somewhere like that for an operation which could cure him.
America, Ebenezer, once again, evidence that you just don't listen to anything that doesn't impact you. However, they never got there.
Oh, my poor baby, he's gone. I will never forgive that Scrooge creature. He could have easily paid, or at the very least, loaned us the money for Timmy's treatment. But no, instead, when you asked him...
Begged, more like.
Yes, begged. He threatened to fire you on the spot. And now we've lost him. Oh, Bob!
Did I? I mean, will I? Surely not. There seems to be some mistake.
There's no mistake here, Ebenezer.
But wait, your brother, the nice one with the Elvis costume, he showed me the Christmas that might have been. Is it possible that I can change all this? Tell me, Spirit, I don't want Tiny Tim to die, and I don't want to die all alone and by myself. What can I do?
At last, maybe, Ebenezer, just maybe, your journey tonight has taught you a few home truths. However, you cannot change what is past, nor what is now, but you can. If you have the will, you can change what might be.
Yes, I can change. I will change. Just let me have the chance, please. Please, Spirit, please!
The tolling of the church bells appeared to have roused Mr. Scrooge. As the winter sun streams in through the gap in his tattered curtains, Ebenezer opens his eyes. After a fight to disentangle himself from the sheet and his overcoat, he leaps out of bed, confused and bewildered.
Bells? Bells? At least that's not my bloody clock chiming again. What time is it? What day is it? Have these nightmares haunted me for 3 nights?
Scrooge reads the old bedside clock.
7? 7? But what day is it?
He runs to the window in a fashion that he's not moved for many years. He flings open the window and shouts to a young man who's passing.
You boy, yes, you. Why are the church bells ringing? Has there been some kind of national disaster?
Disaster, sir? No, sir. They're ringing out because it's Christmas Day, of course.
Christmas Day? Christmas Day? So the spirits must have visited me on the same night. Then there is still time. Oh, Jacob, thank you. Thank you so much, Jacob.
Sir, my name isn't Jacob. It's...
I wasn't speaking to you. Oh, never mind. Wait there, please. Please, I shall be down in a moment, and I promise I'll make it worth your while.
Without further ado, Ebenezer runs downstairs, removes the painting of Jenny, and scrambles in his pocket for the key to his safe, which is hidden beneath. He thrusts the key in with unprecedented gusto.
Well, at least it's still here. But how much? I've no idea what things cost nowadays.
Believe it or not, dear listener, he's telling the truth. Ask him the price of oil or gold, and Scrooge would answer within seconds. But the cost of a pint of milk, well, that's a different matter.
Oh, sod it. This should be enough.
Wow. Unbelievably, he's grasped a pile of banknotes from the safe. There must be hundreds there. Are we really witnessing a new and improved Ebenezer Scrooge?
Oh, boy. Oh, you waited. Thank you. Now, please, take this money and run to the butcher's. I know he'll be closed on Christmas Day, but offer him double the price and buy the biggest turkey in his shop, and a ham, and stuffing, and,
What about pigs in blankets, sir?
Pigs in what? Pigs? In blanket? Never mind. Yes, whatever you think. Once you're done, bring it all back here. And you'd better take a taxi. You'll never carry all that. Here, take another tenner. Once you get back here, I have one more errand for you.
But, sir, I mean, why?
Oh, don't you worry about that. Now, I promise to make it worth your while, so a reward will be waiting for you upon your return. So go, run. If you're back within 30 minutes, this £50 note is yours. And if you're back in 15, then I'll double it.
The young man runs like the wind to the butcher's. We're all asking ourselves the same question. Is this the Ebenezer Scrooge that we've come to know? Surely not. This smiling, gleeful, lavish character must be some kind of imposter.
Oh, how I'd love to be a fly on the wall when this feast is delivered. He'll have no idea who sent it, and least of all will he be expecting it to be from me. But he deserves it and more after the way I've treated him over the years.
The safe in the house still lies wide open. This is not the Ebenezer that we've come to know and hate. Ignoring the safe, he's gone to get dressed in his best suit, usually kept for weddings and funerals, that he doesn't attend.
Ah, boy, you're back, and so quickly. What a good lad. Taxi, don't leave just yet, please. Now then, I believe we agreed on £200 for your services. Here, take it. But I have one more task for you. Go to Tesco's and buy potatoes, carrots, Brussels sprouts, all the things that should go with a Christmas dinner. Also, a big Christmas pudding and some wine, plus some juice for the kiddies.
Open-mouthed, the boy stood, rooted to the ground outside Ebenezer's house. This really is an entirely new man that we see before us.
Now, once you're finished in Tesco's, take all this to this address, but be sure not to tell Bob Cratchit where it came from. I want this to be a great surprise. Come on, my young friend, you must get going. Time is of the essence.
Of course, sir. It will do, sir. Thank you, sir.
And don't forget the mince pies and brandy sauce. And a very Merry Christmas to you and your family.
Fred, son, get the door.
Who on earth could that be?
Despite the invite that Fred had passed on the previous day, nobody was expecting...
Merry Christmas! Merry Christmas, one and all!
Uncle Ebenezer, you came? I'm so pleased. Come in.
Who is it, Fred? Oh, it's you. What can we do for you? Now is not a good time. We're having a family celebration.
I know, and it's why I'm here, to join you. I was invited. And worry not, we are after all part of a family bubble, and I brought my own hand sanitizer. Now, where is it? If my memory serves me correctly, Mary here makes a fantastic eggnog.
Here you go, Ebenezer, and you tell me if it's as good as you remember.
Just as I remember. Wonderful.
To everyone's astonishment, Scrooge spends the rest of the day joining in with the family games, raising a glass or two, and even insists on carving the turkey. It's almost identical to the scene that we witnessed with the ghost of the Christmas present, but just with one unexpected guest.
Oh, I'd love to see Bob Cratchit's face right now.
Oh, Uncle, what have you done to that poor man now? Surely not today of all days.
What? Oh, I see. No. My clerk is probably carving into the biggest bird he has ever seen. Bigger than that poor lad Tiny Tim it was.
You mean you've sent the Cratchits a turkey? Okay, what have you done with the real Ebenezer Scrooge?
Oh, not just a turkey, but all the trimmings, as they say. And a ham and a Christmas pudding. Not forgetting the mince pies and brandy sauce. Time that family had something to celebrate with.
That is a wonderful gesture, Uncle. However, I don't think that they really have much to celebrate. Not with Tiny Tim's illness.
All in hand, dear boy, all in hand. Now, I need to speak with your father.
Now, what is Scrooge up to? He and Fred's father have retired through to the study and are in deep discussion.
Mum, what's going on? What on earth can they be talking about?
I have no idea. No idea at all, son.
And here they come now. Scrooge is smiling broadly, and that usually bodes ill for someone. But wait, his brother-in-law is also beaming from ear to ear. Something is afoot.
Dad? Uncle Ebenezer? What's going on? What are you two talking about?
Later, my boy, later. There's still much to discuss. Now, where were we? Oh, yes, charades, my favourite.
Everyone particularly enjoyed Scrooge's charade of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. For the rest of the day, until early evening, Scrooge was the life and soul of the party. As 7 p.m. approached, he took his leave and said goodbye to them all.
Good night, everyone. Merry Christmas. I'll see you all on Hogmanay in Hugo's. And the drinks are on me.
Merry Christmas, Uncle Ebenezer.
Merry Christmas.
Mind how you go, Ebenezer. It really was lovely having you with us. We're so glad you came.
Scrooge makes his way home feeling happier than he has done for years. It was as though a great weight had been lifted from him. Oh, hang on. Oh dear. He hasn't gone home. He's in his office. I hope that doesn't mean...
Yes, of course I know what day it is. But it's what, 2:30 in the afternoon there now? Surely he's had his lunch, so please put me through. This really is important. Please, it's urgent.
Why, this really is a new Ebenezer Scrooge that we're seeing. Even making long-distance calls. The man always times his calls with a stopwatch to the last second. Oh, and what's this? He's making another call now.
That's right. 5 first-class seats departing from Edinburgh in 2 days' time. No, I don't know exactly when they'll be returning. You'd better make them all open-ended tickets.
Finishing his call, Scrooge locks up his office and, satisfied, makes his way home. Before retiring to his bed, he pours his thimbleful of whiskey and then decides...
Bugger it, I shall have a large one.
Enjoying his nightcap, like he's not done in many a year, he drains the last dregs and then climbs the stairs to his bed. Hearing the ticking of his old clock, he declares...
No spirits tonight for me, other than the whiskey. I've seen all I need to see. Oh dear, yes, all I need to see.
And Scrooge falls into a deep, restful, undisturbed slumber. until he awakened more refreshed than he's felt for many, many years.
What time is it? Oh, God, it's turned 8. I must get to the office before my clerk this morning. I hope he's on time. I have a few things to say to that man.
Oh dear. It seems maybe yesterday was just a one-off. It sounds like the old Scrooge is back. And here he is, sitting at his desk, drumming his bony fingers as he waits for Bob Cratchit to arrive.
10 past the hour and no clerk. Where is he?
Sorry, sir. Sorry.
With breathing like that, Cratchit, you might want to get yourself checked.
No, sir, it's nothing like that. You see, we had a bit of a celebration yesterday, and well, it went on a bit, and I'm afraid I rather overslept. Sorry, sir. I'll stay late to make up a course.
Shut up, Bob. Get in here. Now, can you and the family be ready in 2 days' time?
Ready, sir? Ready for what? Oh, please, sir, don't dismiss me. I promise. It'll never happen again. I'll take a pay cut, anything. Oh, please, sir.
Ah, yes, your salary. Well, that will have to change.
Yes, of course, but...
To reflect your new duties.
Duties, sir? But I thought...
Leave the thinking to me, Bob. Yes, new duties. As our newly appointed Chief Financial Officer, we need to negotiate a new package for you. Now, how do you feel about 100k as a starting point, which we can review in a few months' time?
Chief Financial Officer... 100,000 Oh, sir, please do not tease me. I've had enough confusion of late. Just yesterday, lots of gourmet food mysteriously arrived at my door. Ham, turkey, pudding, mince pie, even brandy sauce, sir.
Bob really is getting upset now.
Now, Bob, there's no need to get upset. I thought you'd enjoy my Christmas surprise.
It was you, Mr. Scrooge?
Of course. Who else do you think would have sent such a feast? And there is no teasing here. Should you wish to accept, you shall become the CFO of the new Scrooge Foundation. But we can discuss that when you return. Now get yourself home and start packing. The plane leaves from Edinburgh on Monday. And take this. Get yourself some new clothes and things. You'll need it for the trip.
But there must be thousands of pounds here, sir. Sir! Mr. Scrooge, are you feeling all right? Shall I run and fetch the doctor?
Well, dear listener, we are almost at the end of our tale. The Cratchit family accompanied Tiny Tim to America for his treatment. Flying first class was such an experience for them, all courtesy of the ameliorated Ebenezer Scrooge. The doctors have confirmed...
I don't have COVID after all. It was all that horrible tumour that was causing all the symptoms.
And better news still.
The operation was a complete success. I feel as though I've never been ill at all.
And while the Cratchit family were overseas, Scrooge worked tirelessly with Fred's father, the new Chief Executive Officer of the Scrooge Foundation, to set up the charity, and their sole purpose, to benefit mankind.
Well, Jenny, my darling, I hope you approve of the name. I hope it isn't too much of a mouthful.
It is now 2 years later. The date, Christmas Eve 2022. King Charles III has arrived at the Queen Margaret Hospital in Dunfermline to open the new wing dedicated to the memory of Jenny and Wendy.
It was great pleasure that I declare the Jennifer and Wendy Schools Memorial Maternity Wing officially open.
Hello, Ebenezer Scrooge.
Mr. Scrooge, this is Dr. Ramanov from the COVID Research Laboratory. I'm delighted to tell you that the vaccine has passed all the tests with flying colours. It is a complete success. We anticipate the virus will be eradicated within a matter of months, and it's all down to you financing the research. We, the country, no, the world cannot thank you enough. None of this would have been possible without your generous donation. Just as the ghost of what might have been had showed him. Over the past 2 years, the Scrooge Foundation has worked ceaselessly in many varied parts of the world, offering help wherever it was needed. Even Scrooge had been astounded to discover just how much his Microsoft shares had been worth. It had made him one of the most wealthy men in the world. He was never visited by the Christmas ghosts again, but it was often said that nobody ever celebrated Christmas as well as Mr. Ebenezer Scrooge. That night, as he returned home, the big old door knocker began to look ever more like his old business partner, Jacob Marley.
Thank you, Jacob. You sent the spirits to save my soul, but you've saved so many more as a result.
And as Tiny Tim declared at the Scrooge Foundation Christmas party,
God bless us, everyone.
That was A COVID Christmas Carol, adapted from the original by Charles Dickens, written by Peter Grant and Dale Jones, recording and sound effects Marianne Alves, project coordinator Carol Morgans, director Dale Jones. The parts were played by narrator Dale Jones, Ebenezer Scrooge, Peter Grant, Bob Cratchit, Peter Trim, Fred, Marianne Alves, Charity Collector, Ann Dolbear, Tiny Tim, Marianne Alves, Mrs. Cratchit, Ann Dolbear, Ghost of Jacob Marley, Peter Trim, Ghost of Christmas Past, Present, and Yet to Come, Brian Mottershaw, Mr. Fitzgerald, Peter Trim, Jenny Scrooge, Carol Morgans, Voice on the Phone, Dale Jones, Fred Father, John Akers, Fred's mother, Louise Dineski, Husband Thief, Peter Trim, Boy, Karen Knox. Other parts were played by members of the cast. With thanks to Hugo's Cafe Bar and Louis Brown's of Dalgety Bay, this has been a Magic Hat production.